coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, and the Prepper Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is June 30th, 2022, and this is episode 134 of the Workshop Podcast. We have got a good one for you tonight. It's going to be a hodgepodge, a community feedback episode, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm going to answer some questions. I'm going to share some tips. I'm going to do some follow-up on the EV, the electric vehicle show. I'm going to share my thoughts on Tik Tok so far because I get asked that a lot. And we're going to finish up with the top 10 best or worst comments that I have received on TikTok so far. And if you're watching this on the live stream, I apologize. The allergies have been kicking my ass today, and I look like I've been on about a 4-day bender, so I apologize, guys. So let's get the announcements out of the way, and then we'll slide on in because we got a lot to cover tonight. And if we don't get to the community tips, I will save them for later, and we'll have a whole nother episode of that. First off, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we have got the book club, the Workshop Book Club for Volume 2 of the Going Home series. I know there's more than just one feller around here excited for that. It's going to be a good time. We had a great time last time. A lot of fun to get around and talk about some fiction that we love. Number 2, Prepper Broadcast Network, guys. Thursday night is our flagship show of the week. It's always streaming across all the networks, all the platforms. And of course, I'm back with my family and brothers on the Prepper Broadcast Network. So check that out. Thank you, White North Forge says 5x5 on Twitch. Earbuds and a fly rod tonight. Oh, that sounds like fun, my friend. So yeah, Prepper Broadcast Network. Go by and check that out. If you're not, oh, you should be. Add them in your favorite podcatcher. Now, we're going to digress for a quick second. If you haven't tried out Fountain yet, it's a great podcast 2.0 platform. Brian, Josh, everybody from Brian and Josh from over on the podcast I was on last night, the after party. They got me finally hooked up with Lightning. There's a way you can earn Satoshis, which is Bitcoin, just for listening to podcasts or for your podcast playing. Anyway, I will get further into it down the road, but I'm into it now and I can't get out. It seems to be a really good setup, a really easy way to make, thank you, Liberty, all good on Telegram. Seems to be a really easy way to make some extra crypto, and who doesn't want that, especially now with the price being down. Hopefully it'll shoot back up. And this summer or fall, no, it'll still be summer. No, it'll be fall, sorry. Last week in September, I'm going to be speaking at Prepper Camp on preparedness, the art of home maintenance when help isn't around the corner. And then that very following week, the first weekend in October, I'm going to be at Self-Reliance Festival in Camden, Tennessee. So if you guys are looking for some in-person meetups, those will be the places to go. Tickets are really reasonable to both places, and I am excited because it'll be the first time I've gone to either event. It's going to be great. I cannot wait to get back to Tennessee. And I'm sure North Carolina is going to be nice too. Finally, today's tool is the microphone I'm talking to you on right now, the FIFINE USB. Always sounds like I'm stuttering when I say that. Condenser podcast mic. There isn't a month goes by that people don't ask me, hey, what do you use to record your podcast with? And that's it. It's fairly inexpensive. It's just over, last I checked, just over $40 American. Don't hold me to that at this point. But I've had it for 2 years. It was 2 years ago I bought it before I'd even started my podcast. And this thing has been golden for me. So if you're looking for an inexpensive, great podcast mic, that's the one to do. All right. Oh, and I got to show you guys something. Show you what I'm drinking my bourbon and Diet Pepsi out of tonight. Look at this. Toolman Tim's insulated coffee mug, drink mug, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be doing a giveaway for one of these coming up. So if anybody has an idea on how to give or how you want me to give these away, let me know. I picked up 2 of them. We got one we're going to give away. One I'm going to keep here and sip my bourbon out of. It'll be fun. A really nice mug. I was quite excited to get some merch. We're going to cross that path when we get there. We're going to have some easier access for some merchandise for you guys in the States. Just finalizing some of this stuff. So anyway, kind of cool. There it is. All right. So it's been a couple of weeks since we did a This Week in the Workshop segment. So I figured we'd get that, talk about that a little bit first. But it has been a hell of a busy couple of weeks around the workshop. All seasons maintenance, my Hey Lots project. I was listening to your bear episode this morning, made me chuckle. I always love stories from wildlife cams and stuff like that. White North Forge says, I know his address. I absolutely do. So it's been a crazy busy week for all seasons maintenance. We've been doing just a lot of landscaping, a lot of cleaning up abandoned properties for the town. We get to go in and secure an abandoned, really cool, interesting property today. Hey, Rachel Brown. Just been a lot of fun. Been a lot of scrounging lately. Been doing really good with that. Sometimes it just seems you got to get your scrounge on and save some stuff from the landfill that was heading there and you decided it didn't need to get there. But some of my great finds this week and the last couple of weeks. This first one, some people might chuckle at, but Chris was with me when we found this. A beautiful 1 gallon bucket, or maybe it was 1.5 gallons. I'm not sure. But it's pretty hard to find a heavy-duty, durable 1 gallon bucket. We found one of those. It's perfect for cleaning out gutters. I found a beautiful pair of Knipex pliers today. They are about $65 Canadian. That made my day. And I brought home 6 dead car batteries. So as far as scrap metal, batteries have been really good to me the last few years. You know, they're heavy, but for the weight of them, they don't take up a lot of space. So I just collect them up until I have to go to the scrapyard, take them in along with my copper. There you go. I have been, hey, we got a thumbs up over on Facebook. Good to hear from whoever's over there. Might be my wife. I always love it when it is. So I've been, and I got a good haul, 2 good hauls of firewood, some softwood the other day and some hardwood today. That's going to go along with the wood stove that I'm rehabbing for this winter. Pretty excited about that. And so that led to going down the YouTube rabbit hole. And I was looking for, you guys know what sawbucks are? So those are those crisscross things that you put your wood in and you can cut them all the same length. I went down a whole YouTube rabbit hole the other night looking for good designs. And I think I found one that I'm going to build. It'll be a copy with some modifications. So when I do, I will have a video up for that. Finish my wicking beds. I have all the footage shot for that. So I'm going to put out, that won't be a regular Wednesday video. It'll be something else, but I know there's enough people out there that want to see how the wicking beds are put together, what mine looks like. So we'll have that for you too. Hey, something else kind of cool. Today, we broke out 2 of the Coast flashlights they sent me. They were a headlamp that is 2,000 lumens and a handheld flashlight that's 2,000 lumens. I was really impressed with it. I got some work that needs to be done just to get used to them, how to charge them, how to use them, how to wear them. But this was the start of the review process on it. And, so far, so good. Here's a tip for you. I should have put this in the tip section, but this was a job that I had to deal with today. If you ever need to tarp your roof and you think there is literally any chance that it could be up there more than a month, do not use a blue tarp. They're not good for wind. They're not good for UV for sure, because a job we did this week was a tarp that's been on a roof for way too long. It completely disintegrated and it ended up in every neighbor's backyard, every individual little blue strand. So don't do it. Get yourself a good farming or agricultural tarp, something that's UV preventative, and use that, because those blue tarps are absolute dog shit when it comes to tarping off a roof. So remember that. Now, if that's all you have and you're in the middle of a storm or just after a storm, then yes, go for it. But if it's any chance it's going to be up there permanently, don't do it to yourself, because you're just asking for a mess. Got a buddy who picked up some brand new Craftsman tools this week. You guys know they're made by DeWalt. I enjoy them. Kind of neat. I'm going to get my hands on them. He's going to bring them by, let me use them for a weekend or 2, test them out. We'll do some DeWalt and Craftsman comparisons. It's kind of cool that Black & Decker company bought the rights or is making some of the Craftsman tools. So I kind of enjoy that, but we're going to test them out, see how they hold up. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been charging 100% all my DeWalt batteries from my solar battery bank, and the solar has held up incredibly well. I've got one of those, I don't know, it's like a little shunt and a monitor type thing that's coming along. I ordered one of those at like $20. Chicken Hawk on the Fireside Freedom podcast the other night, he showed me that, and I've been looking for some sort of LED LCD monitoring system, and it's pretty inexpensive. When I hook it up, I'll show you how it works. I already told you I finally got the Lightning set up and the Fountain podcast player. You got to check that out. It's I'm pretty impressed, and it was much more simple than I expected. And I had to pull out the gas weed whipper and use that today, and it was friggin' miserable. I remember why I switched to battery. Now, does the gas have more power? Yeah, it does. But, oh, the starting and the stalling and the running and yeah, no. I'm happy with my battery 95% of the time. Rachel Brown says, I want to do water storage here at my friend's house. If I have some time, I want to do wicking beds too. I plan to pick brains. Yes, Becky and I did 2 above ground raised wicking beds a couple of years ago. And they weren't perfect. We made a lot of mistakes with them, but they worked. And gosh darn, didn't the friggin' plants grow like crazy? Lot says, finally found fountain. Oh boy, say that 5 times fast. But yeah, as far as wicking beds, I don't think there's anything better. I made some improvements. I will go through everything that I changed from the last time, talk about my mistakes I made, what I've learned, and yeah, it's going to be fun, but it'll definitely be out there. So, first segment of the podcast tonight. I don't know what to call this, but I started talking about this the other night in the after party as well. I would call it how to respond and how to not respond to a social media post or a podcast episode, whatever you want. So I got 2 responses. I got 2 responses to the electric vehicle podcast over on Float. I'm not going to name any names, but the first one, so I got one really good one and one, well, you be the judge. So the first one was like 2 pages long. I've kind of condensed it, but it is just full of incredible information from a Tesla user. They just kind of went through, listened to the whole podcast, and then give me a response of their thoughts on how the Tesla compared to the Nissan Leaf and all that stuff. It's really interesting. I'll try to get through it quick, but I wanted to share it with you. And I've sent a message to this individual to see if they're interested in coming on, because I'd love to get someone else's perspective on it. I thought it was a pretty well-balanced episode where he talked the positives and the negatives of EVs, but I don't know. Anyway, so let's, so the user over in Float, they said from the description, I don't think I'd really care to travel far in a Leaf or for any EV that has less than a 250-mile range. Said, with a Tesla, I typically tell people that if you treat a road trip like Cannonball Run, it's going to feel like a nightmare. And to be honest, anytime you're ever in an absolute hurry on a road trip, it kind of takes a little bit of the joy out of it. They said you probably won't notice much of a difference talking about the difference between the Leaf and the Tesla, until you get behind the 500 to 600 miles in a day. So if you're only doing 500 or 600 miles, which is a damn good distance, probably won't be much of a difference between a Tesla and a Leaf. Said that one of these thoughts, I thought this was kind of cool, said he finds that most people aren't really honest with themselves about how often they stop and how long these stops are on road trips. He said, I was talking about a 15 minutes to gas up. He said his experience is closer to 20 for a gas stop on a road trip when I fuel up. He says he moves the vehicle to a parking spot and goes and takes a leak himself. I'm going to start timing it, especially when I'm down south, traveling from North Carolina to Tennessee, and we'll see. But absolutely could be right there. Charging time. And a Tesla definitely seems faster. He said he thinks that's due to the Leaf having to rely on third-party chargers or third-party networks. In 20 minutes, a Tesla can go from 10% to 75%. That's enough for about 130 to 170 miles, depending on conditions. Said a meal break of 40 minutes will get you from 10% to 90%. That's pretty damn good, I thought. A real-world trip that he takes frequently is to visit his parents. 380-mile trip, one way. Theoretically, I can do it in one stop with a 30 to 40-minute charge at the halfway point, but I've never done it in one stop, not even in a gas vehicle, even in an internal. So he shortens the ICE, internal combustion engine. We typically make 3 stops, 2 pee breaks and a meal. That sounds about right for a family with kids. In an EV, we'd stop at 95, 190, 300 miles, because that's where the fast chargers are. I thought that was an interesting thought. They kind of plan their trip around where the fast chargers are. So it doesn't really take any longer. It's just the need to reformulate how they take a road trip. And, when they take the breaks, where they take the breaks, that kind of stuff. Now, I had mentioned as far as battery swaps go, right? That was one of the things I said. Now, their thoughts were that if they ended up doing swappable batteries, they think the battery packs would end up being smaller. And then they would realize that people would have, or what what he feels the manufacturers would do would be to shrink the range. So if they're swappable, they're like, well, people just have to pull over every 2 hours and swap them out. And he thinks that what that'll end up doing is shortening the range in vehicles overall. Not sure I agree with that, just their thoughts. And I appreciate this is all thoughtful, responses to what we dealt with or what I talked about. And I enjoy that. Whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, listen to what I'm talking about, listen to the show, and then give me some positive or negative feedback. Winter heating. So this is the pluses, Tesla pluses. I like this, the positives. He never freezes his tail off. That's interesting. Dropping the kids off at school in the morning in my truck sucks. It puts wear and tear in the engine because of a cold start. But when it's minus 15, the Tesla don't care about the cold. I did not know this. I'm getting heat from the blower before I even back out of the garage. Very cool. It's 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I need to leave the kids and the wife in the car to do a quick run into a store. No big deal. Just turn the AC on. Apparently the newer ones have heat pumps in them, and that has made a huge difference for hot and cold. Says it's a joy to drive. The acceleration is fun and comes in handy occasionally on the highway. The autopilot makes highway driving more enjoyable. It's cheap to drive. I've driven 900 miles this month, and it's cost me $23. Kind of cool. No maintenance aside from rotating the tires. Now, the downside is the purchase price. He said if you have a Camry budget, you can probably swing a Nissan, Chevy, Hyundai, Volkswagen. But he says Tesla and the extra range and travel conveniences offer is a lot more money. Insurance and registration is extra pricey as well. The version 2 superchargers, those are the old style, says some of them are glitchy and just don't charge as fast as they should. His solution, just pull into a different charger. And the last thing was headwinds. He said headwinds will cut into your range like you wouldn't believe. So that, yeah. And one more thing. The older Tesla models, he has one of those as well that doesn't have a heat pump. If you have one without a heat pump, in the winter, when you're running your heat, it definitely cuts into your range. So I hope you enjoyed that. I didn't want to make it too long, or, I did cut it down for brevity, but I wanted to share another real world experience on EVs. I think whether you love them or hate them, they're coming. So if we embrace them or at least learn about them, it's a technology. Anytime a new technology comes out, us as preparedness freaks and geeks or preppers or whatever the hell you want to call us, there's always something we can take from just about any system and any technology. And I think electric vehicles, while not perfect, will offer us something a little different. Just the option of being able to charge a vehicle, basically having unlimited long-term fuel, even better than natural gas, because unless you're Mr. Burns, you're not going to shut the sun off, right? Okay, now, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes, and I'm not going to give the name of who this person was. Now, the first response was how to respond to a podcast. The second response, in my opinion, is how not to. It says, I don't have an hour and a half to listen to this, but I did listen to a little bit, specifically about how awesome the acceleration of electric cars is. True, but flooring it radically decreases the range of a battery charge. I have posted here many articles pointing out how ridiculous electric cars are from every standpoint, bragging about acceleration and bringing up a very rare problem with internal combustion vehicle raises red flags for me. Sorry if I'm missing the overall point, but prepping by making your life more reliant on electronics absolutely does not make sense. Well, I 100% disagree to that. And I followed up with it. It is what it is. No vehicle system is perfect. If you're not going to listen to the entire episode, I get it. I understand. I know people are passionate about certain things, but why respond? And now here I am spending time talking about it. I'm not saying that you just like that. That's the same as people who say, don't buy a generator made from China. Well, I get it. You don't like Chinese stuff. You don't, whatever it happens to be. But my opinion is whatever the hell technology is out there that can make your life better, then embrace it and use it. And if you don't like electric vehicles, great, but don't tell me they have problems. So how ridiculous electric cars are from every standpoint? Well, they're not. They have benefits over gas-powered vehicles in some instances, and they also have drawbacks. And gas-powered vehicles have benefits and drawbacks as well. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because the government says you need to switch to them. And just because, you know, there's so much pressure from the environmentalists to switch to them, don't listen to that, because I don't listen to that. You know, it don't make me a tree hugger and it don't make me a tree burner. But the fact remains that electric vehicles are here to stay, and they can be an efficient part of our preps. But again, one is none. What is it? One is none. Try that again, Tim. Third time's a charm. 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a guarantee. So if you have multiple ways to communicate, multiple ways for transportation, then you're better off than only having one. Because if you have a gas-powered vehicle, the gas is going to run out eventually. So hop down off my soapbox. There's my hobby horse. But I had to respond to that, guys. Lots Project says, then don't use TikTok like they're the only ones harvesting data. Oh, I get that all the time. I won't use TikTok because China. Okay, cool. I don't care. I mean, what is YouTube? I mean, Google is one of the worst companies in the world. Apple, I mean, unless you're a fucking Amish, then everybody has to make concessions in their life. Everybody has to decide what works for them. Everybody needs to decide how much privacy they want and how much privacy they don't. But if you don't use TikTok because China, okay, cool. I get it. But like Brian says, they're not the only ones harvesting data. We're going to get into that a little later. Boy, what a night. I'm on fire tonight. Okay, so those were, what did Chicken Hawk says? I kind of like Ticket. Tickety Talk. I had to read. I kind of like Tickety Talk. Yes, I like Tickety Talk as well. And it's kind of fun to talk like we're old men and we don't understand it, right? You guys going to get some of that Tickety Talk? It's like my grandfather that time that told me they were building the new highway. He said, yeah, some kind of information superhighway. It's going to be incredible. God rest his soul. I love Gramps. So first question that I had sent to me. Hunter says, don't look up my TikTok. I think I ran into you the other day on there. Chris Dixon sent me a question. He said, have you ever considered stockpiling a shit ton of coffee? How would you store it? Mylar, ? This has been a topic of conversation across the board lately. And it has, everybody seems to be talking about coffee, whether it's the price going up or the shortages or the shipping, but nobody wants to ever see a life without coffee. So when I first discovered the joys of air roasted micro batch coffee that I got from Nicole, I realized that I was never going to go back to drinking my Maxwell House, was it medium roast, ever again, unless, of course, the metaphorical and actual shit hits the fan. So what I ended up finding myself stuck with was 6 2-pound cans of brand new Maxwell House. And over the last year, Becky and I, my beautiful wife, have been spending a little bit of money putting away all of our dry goods in 5-gallon buckets with Mylar. So 6 2-pound cans of coffee were just about enough to fill up a 5-gallon Mylar bag, 5-gallon bucket, put in some oxygen absorbers, seal it almost all the way down with one of the kids. Brian says, amen on the air roasted. Yeah, there's nothing better. Seal it up with a hair crimper, whatever I can't remember, flat iron, whatever. Get it almost sealed, push all the air out of it, seal the rest of it, make sure you throw your oxygen absorber in there, put it down, screw the lid on. When it comes on sale, it's like $5.97 for a 2-pound can. So what was that? $36 plus the storage. And I've got enough coffee in there that I could probably drink it for a year, especially if I knew I had to, ration it. So yeah, I have thought about it actually. And I think it's pretty important. And I think I would love to put up some really good micro batch air roasted coffee, but it ain't going to happen. I mean, it might a little bit, but I'd probably just drink it. Right. So yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts. Absolutely. And I'll probably end up putting another 5-gallon bucket of coffee up, and probably a 5-gallon bucket of tea bags as well. Red rose tea, if I can find it in bulk, because that's our go-to tea. MH on YouTube asks, keep the battery charged? ? How do you do that? Talking about a generator. So I responded and I said, a trickle charger. Well, anyway, so if you're out there and you're new, I'm sure you guys have heard me wax eloquently on the benefits of having a trickle charger. They're cheap. They're like $20 on Amazon. You hook them up permanently to the battery on your generator, but then it has a quick disconnect, so you don't need to have it on there when you're running it, but it keeps your battery charged up. That's the answer. It's simple, dirt simple. It takes nothing to install, and they're cheap. So then I get a response, what is the alternative if I don't want to do that? Of course, my smart ass self wanted to say, well, a dead battery, but I didn't say that. So really, your alternative is a lot more work and a lot more chances of forgetting things, right? This is what ends up happening. That's why I have a trickle charger, because I don't want to forget to go out and have to top up my battery. But if you don't have a trickle charger or don't have a place to plug one in, you're going to need to periodically charge your generator once a month, every couple of months, or make sure you run it for long enough that if your generator has an internal charging circuit, that you're willing to run it long enough with enough gas that it'll charge it up, because it takes a fair bit of draw from your little battery every time you use the electric start. And if it doesn't start the first time, you keep cranking, right? So anyway, yes, I'm going to, we're going to star a couple of these. So yeah, any questions you have? I lost it. There was a green beans question there somewhere and I lost it. So anyway, yeah, green beans. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And Martinson family says, if it gets that bad, I may have to steal a boat in Thunder Bay and float down to my friends in Guatemala. Absolutely. Okay, next question. This one actually came just today over on Telegram. And have I mentioned how much I friggin' love our Telegram group? I tell the guys and gals over there all the time how incredible they are, but it really is an awesome group, an awesome community. We got like 111 members, and it's just a great community where we share. People share tips, people bring in questions. We had solar questions earlier today, and this one was a great question from Natalie. It was good enough that I told her it was going to be in the show notes tonight. But she said, do you, Tim or anyone in the group, do you have any experience with those fireplace inserts? I have a wood-burning fireplace. It's pretty, but it ain't, well, she said, but it's not efficient. I have a lot of wood I can use off my own property. I would like to cut down on heating costs. But should I expect to pay $2,500 to $3,000 for one of these inserts? So, okay, first off, I used to sell them all the time at Home Hardware. I love selling wood stoves. Growing up on the East Coast, everybody burnt wood out there, or almost everybody. But if you don't know what an insert is, the first thing you need to know is an old-fashioned fireplace is about the absolute worst way, is almost the worst way to warm yourself up, other than maybe an open pit fire in a field with the wind blowing. But I don't know the exact numbers, but I would venture to say 80 to 90% of the heat goes straight up the chimney with a fireplace. So some, entrepreneurial soul at one time decided, hey, I know what I can do. I can take the technology from a wood stove. I can build it in the shape of a fireplace. Then you can slide that into your fireplace and hopefully have a glass door so that it looks good. But it's like an EPA ultra efficient wood stove that looks and fits into your existing fireplace. So if you didn't know these were a thing, they are a thing, and they're incredible. The problem is you pay more for an insert than you do a standard wood stove. But once it's installed, now you got to check with your insurance company, because they're probably, if you have a fireplace, it's probably all you have there is either a brick chimney or an old clay liner. So you may need to run stainless steel liner up through the inside of it. But yeah, just one of those things. So if you've never looked at them, they are awesome. And they are a great way to not have to add anything, like to not take up any existing floor space in your house, but to take something that's just pretty and is a liability and turn it into an asset. Turn it into something that's still really pretty, something you can still sit and look at in the middle of winter and enjoy, but also something that could be a literal lifesaver if that's the only way you can heat. And yeah, they are as efficient, or damn close to as efficient, as the best wood stoves out on the market, but they are more expensive. The one thing I didn't do, and I haven't done in damn near a decade, is to look at the prices, but I do remember them being, 50% more than most wood stoves. So yeah, check that out, because the upfront investment might be a little bit more, but especially if you have a lot of wood on your property, that's a way to do it for sure. Okay, so now Duncan Paisley, this was kind of a cool question. This was talking about, if you guys, an interlock system. So what those are is what I should have on my panel down here. And what it is you backfeed your generator through an outlet in the house, outside typically, And there's a switch in there, an interlock switch, that if you turn it one way, only your main breaker can be turned on. If you turn it the other way, the main breaker has to be off and that other breaker has to be on. But this, so as you can picture, I know it's a little hard to picture, but it's like all it is a little piece of sheet metal that slides back and forth. The big problem is that it has to be within reach of your main breaker. So he said, in my panel, in my breaker panel box, the first position under the main is used. Do I need to move that breaker elsewhere to install the 50 amp breaker so I can install the interlock? I'm guessing I'd have to move it, but what would be the best option? So yeah, that's the thing. If you want to have and that's the thing, I'll have to move around when I put an interlock on my panel as well. If you want to, so if you want a 50 amp circuit in your house that's going to run, most everything with your generator when the power goes out, it either needs to be the top circuit on the left or the top circuit on the right of your electrical panel, because that little piece of sheet metal needs to slide back and forth. So I'm not recommending you do that yourself. There are lots of videos out there to see how to do that kind of stuff. So if you're adventurous and you want to learn how to do things, go for it. I did it. But if not, I'm not saying go for it, even though I did say go for it. But yeah, honestly, most people are going to want to call an electrician and say, hey, I need a 50 amp circuit here, a box out there, and go from there. So Richie Rich, I never knew I would be lucky enough to have a question by a big comic book star, or at least he used to be. But yeah, anyway, he said, what would be the proper care and use of a generator if I buy it and never use it? I'm thinking about picking up one of the Firmin tri-fuel generators as part of my preparation toolkit. First off, I love hearing that kind of stuff. Oh, yes. And Brian says you absolutely, I should have mentioned that. Go back to the last question. You absolutely could put a transfer switch in as well, and it might end up being cheaper. So that is something to look at. I should have mentioned that, because I always just think interlock because I like doing shit myself, and I'm not going to be installing a transfer switch myself. But that is totally an option. If you're paying an electrician already, there's a good chance it won't cost a hell of a lot more to go transfer than it would to frig with all the breakers, have another, yeah. Anyway, so check that out and see. So it wants to know, basically the question from Richie Rich is, I'm looking at buying a generator. Sounds like he's either beefing up or new to preparedness, which is awesome. If you end up hearing this, Richie, I hope you follow up with this because it's great. But he said, in the past 10 years, I have never needed a generator unless it was like for one day for camping. But right now they're cheap. Well, they're $200 off at Costco. And that discount will allow me to buy a 100-pound propane tank as well. So basically what he wants to know is, if he buys this generator and never absolutely ever needs it for a power outage, what is the best thing to do for routine maintenance? Well, if you've ever followed me, you've probably heard me say this before, but the absolute worst thing to do is to buy a generator and sit on it for 10 years and never open it up, never bring it out of the box, never assemble it, never run it. That's the worst thing, because it's not going to run. So the first thing you need to do with every generator, and I don't know how many times I've said this, and I will say this 1,000 times again, you need to run that generator every 2 to 3 months. Simple as that. That is the best way to make sure that goddamn generator will run when the power is out, and it will start easily. Because if you do it any less often than that, it gives it time for everything to just kind of gum up or sit and just not work. So first off, whether you think you're going to need this over the next 10 years or not, well, that's the same as, concealed carry. You may never have needed it, but you might just need it next month. Just saying. So first off, run that thing every 2 to 3 months. That way, that's going to give you 3 benefits. The first benefit is you're going to learn the starting procedure. So you're going to know exactly how to start that thing with your eyes closed backwards, with it raining or freezing rain or snow. You're going to know how to start it. So that's number 1. Number 2, it is going to show you if there's a problem with the generator. So you're going to run it and then you're going to test all the outlets. Maybe you're going to find, oh shit, my normal 110 outlet doesn't work. I need to get that replaced or repaired. Well, that would really suck if that's your go-to outlet and it's, below zero, below freezing out, and you need to run it. So again, it's going to tell you that. And so we've got, first off, it's going to teach you the starting process. Secondly, it's going to show you what might be wrong. And third, it's going to show you, you're going to get comfortable with the entire procedure of hooking it up and allowing you to know what it will run with. Now, beyond that, if you're running gas, every second or third time you run it, you need to run that thing dry. Put some fuel stabilizer in it, but get that old fuel out of there, because that is your enemy. Get the old fuel out, or worst case scenario, shut your fuel off and then run it dry. But honestly, just get all that old fuel out of there. And I'm really becoming a big fan of the propane and natural gas generators, just running them off of that, because there's nothing left in the system when you're done that can gum up a carburetor or make a real mess in your generator. So do all that. And then the third thing you got to do, get a friggin' trickle charger on your generator. If you do those three things, that's, keep the fuel out of it, run it every 2 to 3 months, and make sure the battery's topped up with a trickle charger. That's it. And there's what cost is involved in that? The only cost is a $20 trickle charger, and at least some of the Westinghouses come with those now. But that's it. And if you do that every 2 to 3 months over the next 10 years, that generator will be ready for you every single time you need it. And you're not, one more thing, change the oil every year, whether you need to or not. That's just good procedure. You don't want it to sit there. And so Brian says, exactly. If you run it only on propane, it's a lot cleaner, and you have a lot less worry about all of the, you have basically no worry compared to gasoline running in it. But yeah, change the oil once a year. That's just a good procedure. You're going to get it out of there. Yeah. So hopefully that helps as far as what you should do. But that is the same for any generator. And like I said, we had that question a while back from Crystal, who had a generator in her garage, had been sitting there for a few years. She couldn't get help getting it set up. And again, that's the thing. Run it. Find someone that'll help you run it. Figure out what you need to do. Beyond that, check your air filter once in a while. Make sure mice haven't made a home in it. You're really not going to need to change a spark plug, because it's not going to get fouled up. You're not going to have old nasty oil in there. So yeah, just keep your battery topped up. Run it every 2 to 3 months. Change the oil once a year. That's about it. Okay, next one. This is JC from YouTube. Said, I have been researching generators for the last while. I know nothing about generators. Well, you're coming to the right spot. I love it. It's Greek to me. I live in Phoenix. I'm worried about, you guys have heard this before, I'm worried about rolling blackouts, brownouts with our summer heat, as my 96-year-old mother lives with me. My biggest concern is being able to run a central AC. I think it's a 3-ton unit. I believe that's what I have out there too. Everything else I can get by without for a limited time, if it puts too much of a load on the generator when the AC runs. So 3 questions he sent me. First one is, electrician, should I install a soft start on the AC unit and plug it in at the electrical panel? Well, that's kind of 2 questions, but anyway, yes. So what I have found is even my, I think it's 9,200 watt peak watt generator running on gasoline is not enough to start my 3-ton AC unit. But if it's running, then yes, it absolutely, yeah, we're going to talk about this in a minute too. Man, I don't think we're going to get to the tips tonight, guys, but that's totally fine. We'll save that for another night. So yeah, soft start, that is the first thing you need, because most generators will run one of those, 3-ton AC units, no problem when they're running. But to get them started, it can be, I think, up to 3 times as much. Would it be wattage? Is that right? And yes, Hunter's wondering about this. Well, you know what? I'm going to come back to that at the end here. Brian, we'll star that one too. So electrician to install soft start on the roof. Yes, you need a soft start. And what that does is, I believe it's a capacitor or a transformer. We talked about this another night, but it provides that peak for the air conditioner so your generator doesn't have to, and then it'll let you run it. So yes, you need it. As far as putting a plug in or not, if you're gonna plug your generator into your home, whether you're using an interlock with a backfeed or a transfer switch, you won't need to have a special plug. It will just power the AC through your thing. Amp draw. Thank you, Brian. It was the one I guessed wrong there. You can tell I don't know my electrical terminology, but I sure know my generators. I just can never remember the proper capacitor. Thanks, Hunter. Now, already have natural gas for heat. Would gas company come and install kind of an outlet from the existing gas meter? Well, that depends. If you've already got, what I love to do, of course, is to tap into anything that's existing. And I am not telling you to tap into a gas line, but what I am saying is, if you already have an outdoor natural gas grill, that you use, then you already do have some sort of hookup on the outside of the house. Now, what would be really great is if it's a quick connect. So all you need to do is take the quick connect off your the quick connect off your grill, take it to a gas shop and have them hook you up with a hose that has the right fittings on either end, and then you can just hook into that. But if you don't have a gas grill hookup outdoors for your natural gas, then yes, you're going to need to get your gas company to come in and hook up an outlet for it. Make sure they'll help you size it, because you want to be, 15 to 20 feet away from your house in theory, because, gas and fire and hazards and burn. Yeah. So you want to be as far away as you should be. So have the company size your hose and everything. Yeah. If you're not sure, get an expert to help you with that. And then 3, I assume once the electrician is hooked up to the electrical panel, it's just a matter of connecting. He says the propane tank up here, but I think he means the natural gas. It'd be much easier he says it'd be much easier if I could come to his house and hook it all up for him. And I would love to do that. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, sorry. So yes, it is that simple. So if you've ever hooked up an air compressor and those quick connect fittings, once you have everything set up, if you could plug a dryer in, if you're comfortable plugging a dryer in and hooking up an air compressor hose, that's it. That's all there is to hooking up a generator when you first get started. You're going to have some sort of inlet, whether it's a transfer switch or like a 50 amp box on the outside of the house. And when you have that, you're just going to plug your cord into that first, then into your generator, then power everything on. Well, you got to have your gas hooked up too. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. And I can follow up more to that down the road, but that is the other one. Okay, so let's go into... So I don't think we're going to make it to the tips. I'm going to save them for another episode, because I know everybody came to hear about my fun with TikTok. And then we're going to go back and talk about a couple of these questions and comments we've had from the community already tonight. So, let's, I didn't bring up my TikTok account, but I started on May 27th posting on TikTok. It all started. So a lot of people want to know, do I like it? How's it working out for me? Should I do it? Should others do it? Whatever. Anyway, right? So I was on the Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon live with Nicole and John Willis. And John Willis basically said, hey, anybody who's not using TikTok is stupid, because there's a growing audience there. It's a quick way to get your content in front of people. And I kind of sighed, and then I got thinking while we're talking, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he's probably right. I can probably send some stuff over there. Anyway, so what I decided to do at first, and it kind of got addictive, was once I shot my YouTube video for the week, I would send it to a guy on Fiverr, and for $10 US, he would turn it into a TikTok video for me. And at first, it was worth every penny, because I didn't know how to edit or make a TikTok video. Now that I'm doing it more, I have more of an idea of how to edit and how to pre-shoot, how to shoot vertically, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it's interesting. The videos are short. They tend to be really hard to get a coherent point in. 60 seconds. Okay, here's some random thoughts that I typed up as I went along here. But 60 seconds is damn near impossible to share a coherent point and back it up with statistics or research. But it is what it is. So I have found over on TikTok, it's been quite fun. I ended up having a video go viral. It was an old video that I had the gentleman cut down for me on Fiverr. So what I've been doing, if you've already been creating content for a while and you're not using TikTok, you've got this whole back catalog of videos, of audio, whatever it is that you can repurpose on a whole new platform. So I'm going to, I want to share as much as I can with you. So I took this, I just randomly picked a DeWalt knockoff battery comparison video. I sent it to the guy on Fiverr. He turned it into a 38-second video. And it was a great video, better than I could make. And it was, Liberty Meat says I can do those 10-minute videos. Yeah, absolutely. So I had him cut it up. I threw it on there. It was probably my 3rd or 4th video I put up, and it went viral. Right now, as it stands, it's had about 1.4 million views. That's friggin' incredible. That's more than every other platform I'm on. All of my views for all of my videos combined. So that was kind of cool. It drove a ton. So you have to have 1,000 followers in order to have a website linked on TikTok. As soon as I hit 1,000, I put that up there. It drove a ton of traffic to my website. That was great. I started pinning comments to the full YouTube videos. That was really cool too. That's helping a bit, but you have to copy and paste those. So there's that. Now, the other thing is I don't just put it on TikTok. So those 60-second vertical videos go first to TikTok, then onto Instagram Reels, and then onto my new YouTube Shorts channel that I have not promoted at all on purpose. It's just kind of an experiment. And so all that, that's one piece of content that was repurposed from an old YouTube video that's now going on 3 new types of platforms, and it's working. And it doesn't take a lot of time. So now I've been getting better at repurposing that. What I do now when I'm doing my interviews on Sunday night, like when I had Mr. Phoenix, the Renegade Butcher, on, whenever he would say something extra astute and I thought was really cool, I'd write down the timestamp in my notes, and then I go back and I salvage a 60-second clip of that, add in some cool little TikTok, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, fonts and things like that. And now I've got three 60-second videos from last Sunday's podcast, and I promote the podcast in it. I say, hey, see what you missed on Sunday night? Here it is. And then at the end, I say, the workshop podcast, Sunday evening, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And I put my logo up there, and that's it. So what I find is it can't just be promotion. It has to be offering something to people, and they seem to take to it. It's cool. So I'm really enjoying it. And now I'm starting, I go out and I pick up, oh man, that's dirty. Brian Alexovich just really burnt Mr. Phoenix there. So anyway, we'll leave that alone. But yeah, I've been going out and I'll pick, 6 or 8 tools that I really like, and I'll shoot 6 or 8 1-minute today's tool or tool spotlight videos back to back, and I'll just put them all together and I make videos out of them. And it's crazy. Once you get the mindset for it, it's not nearly as bad. For a while, it was taking me a lot longer to do a 1-minute video than it was to make an 8 or 9-minute video for YouTube. But now I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to enjoy, this almost sounds like sacrilege, but I'm starting to enjoy filming vertically as well. There's whole new challenges involved in it. But overall, man, that bourbon tastes good tonight. Overall, it has been a very pleasant experience that I have enjoyed a lot. And I'm going to stick with it. And it's a whole nother kind of world that's out there. And I've enjoyed it. It's really grown my brand quickly. I am going to surpass my YouTube subscribers probably within a month or 2 on TikTok, and I didn't expect it. Again, it's all back to the tools that are out there, your choice to use them, how you embrace them, and figuring out ways to get your existing content on as many platforms as you can. And thank you, Brian and Josh, for helping me with Fountain and getting my podcast over on the 2.0 platform, I believe it's called. But that is just another example of that. And there's no end to the amount of work you can put into it, but it's been big and I enjoy it. So those are my original thoughts. Now, here's a few thoughts on okay. There's a few things about TikTok that you need to take with a grain of salt. The first thing is the content, or the comments, they remind me of what YouTube used to be. Do you remember when everybody used to say YouTube comments were like a literal cesspool? I mean, they still kind of are. Oh, thanks, Chicken Hawk. I appreciate that, my buddy. Just sent me a super chat. What a man. I love that guy. Can't wait to meet you in real life someday, man. Okay. So he says 1 video, 3 platform, and editing the long video down for the shorts. Great advice. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. So the audience and the comments are hilarious. What I got to say is I picked 4 types of people that I have found in the TikTok comments. I'm going to share them with you, and I hope you find them as humorous as I did, but they're not really, So a lot of this came from the video that I ended up having, 1.4 million views on. And this is the knockoff versus real batteries. So there was 4 types of people that really responded. And of course, they limit the, Dan says, how can we send super chat donations? Oh, thanks, Dan. You just, it's on YouTube if you're in the live chat over there. Oh, or you can support me through Lightning. And if Brian knows how to set that up, we can do that too. But anyway, yeah, you just, go into the live chat, and I believe there's a post at the bottom for super chat or super sticker. But yeah, no big deal. Thanks, Dan. I almost didn't even see that over on Telegram. So thank you, guys. All right. So the first person in the TikTok comments that I have found this is the typical response. Don't use knockoff batteries. They'll burn your house down, kill all your children, and put you in jail. So that, of course, this video was comparing them, and I compared them favorably. I said they're pretty damn good for the price of them. But of course, remember, it's a 38-second video. What can I say in a 38-second video, right? Okay. Second, this was, hey, I bought a bunch of them. They work great, and they work on all my different, I haven't had any problems whatsoever. So the first one you have is the person that absolutely hates what you're saying. And of course, it has to be short. The next one is, yeah, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you're right. The third one is, hey, did you guys notice that he changed his shirt to a hoodie halfway through the video? And you're like, yeah, okay. Anyway, this is what happens when you edit down YouTube videos, right? And the fourth guy loves to say, yeah, that mower is really great for mowing grass, but do you know you can't use that to vacuum your pool? In other words, they'll respond and say, well, yeah, it's great for this, but it's a piece of shit for that. Well, I'm not talking about friggin' vacuuming your pool with a mower, right? And Liberty says tickled with a softball bat rather than poked with a straw. And then the fifth one is, this one's a really good one. Dude, you didn't show your work. Again, remember, it's a 38-second video, guys. And this was somebody I seen a lot of on TikTok. They're like, dude, you didn't show your work. Why didn't you do an entire breakdown of every test you did to prove your point? You should have had a year later follow-up, independent lab testing, plus your video's too long. It's like, what the hell do you expect out of a friggin' 38-second video? But anyway, then you get the Milwaukee sucks, DeWalt rules guys. And then you get the DeWalt sucks, Milwaukee rules guys. And one of my favorite comments was, what an absolute city review that was. And I'm thinking, if you knew me, but again, it's a 38-second video, so whatever. Basically, they accused me of being some city boy talking about using all of my battery equipment in the city and how great it worked for me in the city. But anyway. So if you guys, hopefully at some point, they had to cancel. We haven't rescheduled yet, but you guys know the Casual Preppers. I got this idea from them. They had a social media comments video, and I laughed so friggin' hard at that video, guys. It was so funny. Just some of they did a 1 hour or 2 hour video that was like a mockumentary on trying to find Bigfoot. And they had all these comments that people shared with them where they thought it was legitimate. I don't know. Either of these people who were commenting were the funniest people alive or the dumbest, but they were like, you'll never find Bigfoot that way, making that much noise in the woods. So anyway, it really made me laugh when I was listening to these comments. So what I did earlier for your enjoyment was I flipped through the 350 comments on, oh boy, the biggest video plus a few other ones. And I found my 10, I think I got 10. Let me make sure. My 10 absolute favorite. White North Forge says, I love oil and gas. Yes, absolutely, man. He's a troll, but he's a good feller, good friend. So I picked out the 10 worst, best, whatever videos. Yeah, and Hunter says TikTok comments can be tough. You got to have thick skin, my friend. It's so funny. Liberty over on TikTok, over on Telegram says, where is it? Hey, if you want to find Bigfoot, I can get you 50% off the Squatch Fest. Our buddy Brian Scramblin Bojangles there, he runs Squatch Fest, and yeah, I always joke about that, right? All right, so here it is. My top 10 TikTok comments that I've got so far, and I hope you enjoyed them as much as I have. And hopefully you guys know me enough that some of these make you laugh right away. First one is talking about my video for battery and why I enjoy battery-powered lawn gear better than gas gear. They said, well, he's Joe Biden's buddy, Trump 2024. I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? So I'm talking about the benefits of battery over gas. And apparently I'm a Joe Biden lover. Forget the fact that I'm Canadian and an anarchist, but fuck you. Donald Trump's awesome. Biden sucks. There you go. That was the best one. That was a good one. Number 2, talking about, you guys seen, I just posted my thermal cell refill video and it was great. I love it. I think I'm going to save a lot of people money, but of course there's always one. And they go, and this was a dead serious comment. They said, someone is definitely going to lose an eye following your advice. Oh boy. Yep. There you go. Apparently, by showing people how to open up a butane cartridge, somebody's going to lose an eye. I don't know. Anyway, now this one here was an absolute waste of a comment, but I had to share it because I just don't know what goes through some people's heads. This, again, was the thermal cell refill video. I hope you guys appreciate this one as much as I did. This is the exact comment. I already know this, and I've been doing it for years. What do you want? A friggin' medal? Like, I don't understand. You watched my video, and then you wasted my time by commenting. I already know this, and I've been doing it for years. Like, I'm not sure if you're supposed to, like, if I'm supposed to congratulate him, or if he's slamming me for being stupid and only following up ahead of time, at the end of time. I don't know, but I had to laugh. I'm like, well, good for you, dude. Hey, great. Now I'm going to share it with everybody else. Why didn't you make a TikTok video? The next one, well, he must make the knockoff batteries. Yep. This, overweight white feller from Canada definitely makes Chinese knockoff batteries. And apparently I'm a shill for them, right? Did you record the video? Which video was it, Brian, that we were just talking about? But yeah, losing an eye or anyway. Yeah. So this is just, oh boy. Anyway, right. Oh, I think he's talking about this guy with I've already done it and been doing it for years. Exactly. Right. Okay. This one was great. So again, remember, 38-second video. I'm giving my opinion on what I have found. You proved literally nothing in this video. Okay, cool. No problem. I mean, some people walk outdoors with their bare feet and they don't prove anything with their feet, but it's a great video. I don't know anyone who does that, but if somebody did, I'm sure it would make a great TikTok account. But I just had to laugh. I'm like, thanks, Dan. Jesus, you guys are too friggin' good. Thanks, Dan. Dan just sent me a $25 super chat. Buddy, that makes my night. I'm not actually crying. It's allergies, but, maybe if I had them, then anyway. Thanks, Dan. You guys are awesome. Jeez, thank you guys. Anyway, I love doing this. You guys know I do. Now, this one, if you guys know, this one just cracks me up every time I read it. And I got it about 7 times on this video. And they're like, the Project Farm YouTube channel did a way better comparison video. And another one was, just so you know, Project Farm owns you. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. It is just blew me up. I was like, okay, if you guys don't know, I love Project Farm. He's one of the best YouTubers out there, and he does some of the best head-to-head comparison videos on the planet. He spends just a ton of money, a ton of time researching this stuff, and he is just, oh my God, it's incredible. He's an awesome guy, and it's a YouTube channel. But apparently, in a 38-second TikTok, you cannot... I am in no comparison to a YouTuber with well over 1 million followers. So yeah, apparently Project Farm does things way better than I do. No shit, dude. But anyway, I had to laugh. The next one, once again, this is a TikTok video. Have a good night, Hunter. Always good to have you. It almost sounded like an old guy, I don't know, going to like a rave or something. He's like, why is the music so loud? I don't understand. But this one was, why is there so much editing in your video? And I'm like, because it's a 38-second video. And in order to shoot short videos, have you never watched TikTok before? Because I literally watched 3 TikTok videos before I uploaded mine. And I realized that they're full of text and hard, quick edits. It's like watching a Liam Neeson jump over a fence with 1,804 edits while you do it. I mean, that's just what it is. I don't know. If you're looking for, unedited content, maybe go over and watch PBS or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, this one was a great one, and I hope you enjoy this one as well. It says, I don't know why this video pissed me off so much. I don't know why this comment pissed me off so much. I really don't know. But hey, I am glad that my video about comparing 2 videos absolutely pissed you off. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you, brother. That made my night, dude. Appreciate it. So yeah, I was like, I don't know why this video pissed me off. I don't know, but I'm glad it did because I guess I succeeded. The reason I made that video was to piss you off. So I hope you guys like these comments as much as I do. Now this one was, of course, why would you waste your money? In other words, what they're saying is, why in the hell would you waste your money on knockoff batteries when, and this is where their comment starts, you could just buy the real batteries from liquidation centers or crackheads. I've gotten flex volts for the price of XR batteries from crackheads. I thought, well, if that's not a life pro tip to live by, buy your batteries from crackheads because you'll save money. I don't know what is. And the final one, and this one just cracked me up, and I don't know why it did. This is all the question said. Liberty Meat Solution says you're just making TikToks to troll people, Tim. It's true. My entire content creation career has just been one trip down troll lane. It's been you guys following me under the bridge so I can troll everyone and not actually put any content on. I get it. Number 10, this comment. This guy shops at Big and Tall, LOL. Now, I don't know if the guy is like, man, he's tall and fat, or I'm like, do you want a medal? Like, dude, I'm a big dude, and I do shop at Big and Tall shops, and I'm not really sure why that comment was there, but it made my day. I'm like, boy, what an astute observation there, Einstein. I am proud of you for that. And I'm like, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. And you know what? If I continue to get a lot of views on TikTok, we'll make this a regular monthly occurrence, because my God, is there ever a pile of comments on TikTok that just make me laugh out loud. And just as I'm talking, somebody sent me a like on TikTok. So yeah, there it is. So what are my thoughts? I love TikTok. It's a lot of fun. I need different creative outlets, as you guys know. That's why I started this podcast, so that I could branch out into different concepts and content. TikTok's kind of cool. I haven't really Liberty Meat says he has tiny man syndrome. I guess it's like my chihuahuas that bark at everybody, but I just had to laugh. I enjoy, probably 5 years ago, all these comments, I probably wouldn't even do this, but I love it now. Like, the more trolls, the better. Bring them on. I mean, I had those people pretending to be me on Instagram and Facebook, so I guess must have did something right, or pissed in somebody's cornflakes. But TikTok is great. If you can find what people are looking for, and that can be hard, you can grow quick. You can get in front of an audience fast. I know they have live streaming over there, but they're like Instagram. It's locked down, so you can't multi-stream from different platforms. But I'm going to continue to experiment over there. I really enjoy it. If I'm already making content as we stand, as it goes, then yeah, I'm just going to keep making it, and I'm going to find all the platforms we can. I mean, I just decided 3 or 4 weeks ago, Brian's been doing this for a while, but I just completely copied him. I just started up a Twitch account, and I did it 15 minutes before I went live, created the account, added the streaming server into there, and now I stream to Twitch, and I've had 2 or 3 people over there watching. Again, it doesn't cost me anything extra to stream to Twitch. It's already there. So just to tie it all in and to bring it all back around, if you're making content, find as many places as you can to put that content out there. Find the best way to package it. If you guys, I always talk about Marshall McLuhan. He was a Canadian philosopher, and he coined the phrase, the medium is the message. In other words, nobody's going to listen to what you have to say if it's not packaged in a way that they like to consume it. And this was a feller who said all of this and died before the internet basically existed, or the internet we know as today. But with that, find a way to get your content or your product or your service, whatever it is, package it in a way that people are going to want it. There's going to be something else come after TikTok that's going to be the next big thing. And if we refuse, if we just stand there like old man laughing at cloud or hollering at cloud, we're never going to get there. I talk, if it weren't for Jack Spirko at the Survival Podcast, I probably wouldn't be doing this podcasting thing. And for a fellow that's been doing it for 13 or 14 years, he is willing to embrace new technologies and new platforms like nobody else I've seen. And if he can do it with an audience of 250,000, I can most certainly do it. And again, it's hard for us old dogs to learn new tricks. You get set in your ways really quick. But just remember, we're making content. The where you put it out and go with it, that's neither here nor there. That's just a process, right? So, it doesn't take much more time to post to 6 social media sites than it does to post to 1. And it only takes me maybe 2 more minutes to post to Instagram and to YouTube Shorts than it does to post to just TikTok. So yeah, I didn't know we were going to spend this much time on it, but enough people have been asking about it. I wanted to share my experience. I'll do another follow-up before or later on down the road once I get a bunch more tickety-talkities under my belt, as our buddy Chicken Hawk loves to say. Martinson family says, when newspapers were the TikTok. Yes. And I will never advertise on that radio and TV thing because print is where it's at, right? And where does that get you? You end up being Kodak, Blockbuster, or any of the other companies that come and go, right? Well, guys, I think that's enough. I really do. We will save all of those community tips. So let's do this. We'll do a community tips episode next Thursday. I love doing community tips episodes. So if you're listening to this and you have just a killer tip, and it could be anything, and it could be generators, it could be preparedness, I don't care. It could be, how to poach the perfect egg. Yes, Chicken Hawk wins the comments tonight. He says, TikTok like no one's watching. Absolutely. Dance like nobody's watching and make content like nobody's watching, because they aren't when you start. But they'll get there and they'll start. Make it for your audience like I did. I made it for an audience that didn't even exist when I first started. And now you guys are here and you make me smile and you send me goddamn super chat. So that makes me happy. Thank you guys. Yeah. So next Thursday, we'll do a community tips episode. So send them to me. You can email them, therealtimcook@gmail.com, or post it on any one of the social links you see this week, or go to the website and send it in through the form. Although I've been getting so much spam over there, it's almost unusable. I got like 130 fake submissions through that form yesterday. I don't even know what's going on. I need to get something automated there, but whatever. Anyway, it is what it is. So send your tips through, and that can be anything. Homesteading, preparedness, bushcrafting, I don't know, like cross-stitching and crochet. I don't care. Whatever is a tip that you think would give some people value, send it along to me and we'll work our way through it, because I've got enough now that we'll be able to do it. Now, where do we go from here? Tomorrow on the Prepper Broadcast Network, of course, we have my buddy Carl A.D. Brown with A Strange Truth. Always a good time. He deals with the news stories that nobody will touch, and with a bent toward Christianity. He has an interesting way of looking at things that not everybody does, and he likes to talk about the things that not everybody likes to talk about, and it's a really interesting show. So he follows me up tomorrow. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, we have round 2 of the workshop book club. I am excited. I'm just really, really excited about that for sure. And that's going to be a good episode. So if you want to be in, come by and join the Telegram book club first. And then I will post the live StreamYard link on there, so you guys can come in and be part of that. And then Sunday night, I've got Miss Letty Lou coming on the show. Her and I chatted quite a while ago, and we did an episode on the Fireside Freedom. This is a topic that isn't nearly as much fun as TikTok. We're going to talk about death. And it's one of those things, I think she has a lot of experience or interest in that topic. And it's something we don't talk about a whole lot. I actually have a customer and a guy I kind of consider a friend who's a content creator and influencer in the funeral and death world. And someday we'll touch with him on his thoughts of it too. But there's some of these topics, let's say 2 of them. Electric vehicles and death are 2 topics that aren't really talked about a lot in the preparedness field. And I want to be the guy that talks about the stuff that is important to us, but other people just don't like to touch sometimes. So it's going to be a good episode. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. That's, of course, if little baby number 2 doesn't show up first. If it does, we'll come up with a different plan for Letty, but that'll be good. I won't make her interview from the hospital. But that's it, guys. I hope you appreciate it. I don't know what else to say. I'm absolutely blown away when you guys support me like this. It's great. We got a lot of things in the pipeline. I'll be here bringing you some great content if you have ideas for me. Good night, Rachel. She said it's past this girl's bedtime. It's past this old man's bedtime before too long, too. But it's a long weekend up here. We got July 1st, which is Canada Day tomorrow. And then, of course, to my wonderful American friends, you guys have, I think there's something special on Monday, isn't it? I'm just kidding. July 4th is your guys' day. So it's kind of cool. It's a long weekend in Canada and the US, so it'll be good. And the weather's beautiful. It's summer, and you guys are still hanging out in droves in the workshop, so I appreciate it. Boy, if it gets any bigger, I'm going to have to knock a wall out and put in some more seating because the workshop's getting crowded, and I appreciate it, guys. So thank you. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.